Hello everyone, I'm here with Gabriel Nassif, also known as Yellowhead. You're considered to be like one of the best players ever, at least in Constructed. Just for a little bit of introduction, you have 9 Pro Tour top 8s, 2 wins. Also, Wikipedia says that you lost the most Pro Tour finals ever. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it was written there. You also have a GP win, and you're like doing pretty well recently as well. I think you're second in the MPL league. You top 4 the Worlds last year. You know, so you're probably a pretty good Magic player. I'm really happy I can talk to you today. How it's going?
Hey, no, it's going great. I saw you were doing these interviews, and I was wondering, when is he going to ask me? You know, so.
Well, I actually messaged you on Facebook like at the beginning, but you probably didn't like see it, or I don't know. But I was happy that you.
Lots, or sometimes I forget. Yeah.
But I'm definitely happy that you said yes. So thanks for that.
No, you're welcome.
Alright, the first thing that I want to ask about, because I just don't want to forget it, it's like right off the bat, I want to ask about the nickname Yellowhead. I did like some research on Wikipedia, and it like said that at like one of your first GPs in like London, you already like wore it. You even have it right behind you. Is it the original one?
Yeah, it's the original one.
Oh really?
Yeah. Of course, I don't think I would get a new one. I would just if I lose it, I'll lose it. You know, it's still the same one. I don't wear it a ton. So,
how did that story happen? You just like liked it, and people eventually like realized that the guy who always wins, but he always wears the yellow hat, or how did it happen?
Yeah, I used to have a favorite hip hop band, and they would dress in yellow, so I started dressing in yellow. So it was like my 15th or 16th birthday. My friend just got me a hat, and she spray painted in yellow. And you know, I started wearing it. I figured I would start wearing it at the Pro Tours, and I wore it at my first Pro Tour. And according to Efro, he's the one who called me Yellowhead first.
Mm-hmm. But wait. You weren't wearing just the hat, like all of your clothes were yellow, or like?
Yeah, I had the yellow T-shirts from the merch from the hip hop bands. I had their yellow T-shirt. There's like pictures from GP London, my first GP top 8. I'm wearing the one of these yellow T-shirts. Yeah.
I see. Well, let's get into the history of your Magic career in a minute. Another thing that I want to get out of my chest, because I really don't want to forget it. I already did an interview with Kai and Polo, and I had to ask them what they think about like the order of the best players. And because you're often in the conversation, I like need to ask you that as well. So if you can maybe rate like the top 5, I think that's where like the tension is. That would be nice. Also, like, be objective. Like, don't be like, I'm the 5th one or whatever, please.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't love to rank Magic players too seriously, because there's just so many factors. Some had an easier path, and then PV. Okay, he had a harder path, but he also like ran really good on his. Split. He has a lot of top 8s and very few top 16s. Mm-hmm. So it's tough, but I don't know. At number 1, I think I would have John Finkel. I think he's, kind of the best to ever play, and just the way that he could keep showing up without playing that much Magic and still doing really good. Mm-hmm. Just testament to how good, natural. And even that, I don't like saying that, because it's just like, he kind of won the genetic lottery. He's just like really smart, and his brain's just really well suited for Magic. And he I don't know. I think once he was joking that if he had been born like 400 years ago, it wouldn't have been that useful. And it's just so. But if I had to go, I would go number 1, John, and then honestly, I don't know. At this point, I would probably just tie Kai and PV at number 2, maybe. It's kind of a cop-out, but mm-hmm. I don't know PV that well. I never tested with him, and Kai's just, he has the 7 PT wins. He's a great, playtest partner. A couple times when I I broke a format, constructed format. It was testing with Kai, whether it was when Paul Rietzl won the Pro Tour was White Weenie. It was me and Kai testing together, and he helped me out. And then when we built the Mono Blue Devotion deck, it was also kind of me and Kai and the rest of the team, but Kai was a big part of it. And then, I'm not even sure I would have me in the top 5, but
okay.
like not counting me, I would probably have maybe, it's tough, maybe LSV and Huey. I think Huey gets left out of the convo of maybe top 5, or, recently PV had a top 10 and he didn't have Huey in his top 10, but it's hard not to have bias because I know these guys pretty well. And, maybe, you've got Kenji Tsumura, who's maybe, in the conversation for, 5th, 6th. I don't know. I would have me.
You don't have to go into the details. It's fine.
Yeah, I would definitely have me below Kai, PV, and John. And then LSV, I'm not too sure. People usually have him above me, but I don't. It's kind of whatever.
That's a good enough for an answer. Like, you don't really have to stretch about it. It's fine. I just felt obligated to ask about it, so I did.
Sure.
Let's start with your Magic career. When I asked Kai, he basically said that like the core of the Magic Pro scene at the beginning was like United States, obviously, but then there was like these points in like certain areas that where like the best people gathered. So you like saw a lot of pro players from like the same city or whatever. Was that the case for you and like friends in France as well, or how did that like all happen at the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just pretty much all the best French players lived in Paris, and we had a good game store where we could play, and it was in Paris where it was kind of the first shop that sold Magic cards and where people gathered to trade and play. And yeah, it's not a coincidence, that it was always like the Parisian scene was just dominating. I mean, there was exceptions. There was a few players from the SAS or players from here and there doing well as well, but it was just such a huge advantage to live in a big city like Paris or maybe Amsterdam for the Netherlands. The good players from the UK kind of all lived together. Same if you look at the States, right? It was the campuses in the US and in colleges. There was no internet, so you could only get better and by playing against good players and discussing ideas with other good players. And if you lived in the middle of nowhere, it's just impossible.
So you just grouped, you just had this group in Paris, and you just like you just went from there. Maybe the information Wikipedia is wrong, but it says that like your first big tournament where like people saw you for the first time was 2001 at one of the GPs in England. Is that accurate?
I mean, I had my first Pro Tour was Pro Tour Chicago in 2000. I made top 64, not good enough to qualify for the next one, so I had to wait a bit to get back on the tour. But
well, the page didn't mention that, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, there's that, and I had already top 8 at French nationals, but I don't know if that counts.
I guess it counts.
But kind of my breakout on the scene, I came in second and lost to Kai in GP London, and then literally a week or two later there was Pro Tour New York, the team Pro Tour, and I lost to Kai in the finals again, and that was kind of got me on the train and got me going from there.
How easy was it back then to like win at the PTs? Do you maybe think that like are you a better player now than you like used to be when you were like crushing everyone? Like, do you think that you would like be better than the Gabriel Nassif back then?
Yeah, probably. It's like in everything, right? I was better back then relative to everyone else, but in the absolute, I'm gonna assume I'm a better player now, because I know more and I've played for so much. You could argue that maybe my brain doesn't function as fast as it used to, but yeah, it was just I was better relative to other people. I was pretty good deck builder, and that was huge back then. Was way less internet and information, and I had people I could play against that were really strong. And now you just have Magic Online and Magic Arena, so it's not as big of a deal if you live, in the middle of nowhere or not in big cities.
it's always kind of interesting to me that like basically anyone that I ask always say, well, I wasn't actually really good back then, but you know, everyone was just awful. But at the same time, you see these people who like used to be the best. If they like try hard nowadays, they like become one of the best players anyway. So it just seems kind of like weird to me. I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think we just have just natural, or not natural, just we were kind of able to snowball, you know. If you did well, then you could afford to spend more time playing Magic because you could justify it financially, which kind of create a snowball effect. Whereas other people, they try and, you know, sometimes they do well, but you can't really make a living off it, so they can't play as much, so they can't get as good. And we just have that, you know, I mean, I think everyone who's really good at some point like was just, you know, super obsessed, and that's all they did. Think Magic, play Magic, and that's how you get really good, you know. And then you've got that kind of level that it's like bike. I don't know, like riding a bike, you kind of never forget. And then even later, if you haven't played a ton, but you start playing again a lot, maybe it comes back. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's good enough for an answer. So you won. Actually, I have to say that the first time I ever saw a watch Pro Tour coverage was actually the one that you won against LSV in the finals. I thought it was awesome, and then I like watched every single one right after that. But like kinda, I'm not sure how fast after that, but you like weren't playing Pro Tours as much. Maybe you like focused on poker. Can you like maybe talk about that time, like why you maybe quit? What were you doing?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when I stopped trying as hard. Maybe 2010, 2011. And yeah, I just decided to focus more on poker. I was enjoying it and I was making decent money. And yeah, I decided that was better. I was maybe a bit like, you know, not as much into Magic anymore. So what I did from basically 2010, 11 to 2017, when I started playing Magic and streaming again, I was just playing poker, and then I was still invited because of Hall of Fame. I just show up, you know, to the testing house for a week before the PT and try to get up to date, draft a bit. And I did that, you know, for 6-7 years, and I never, you know, I had like maybe a top 16 or 2 finishes in 7 years, like no top 8s, just because it's really hard to do well at a Pro Tour if you don't play a lot, and I didn't play a lot.
Why did you decided to like come back and like try hard again? Because like from the information on Wikipedia, you were actually doing pretty well in poker. It says that you have like over 30 finishes at like the World Series of Poker. I'm not sure if that's like good or not. I don't really follow poker, but at one point you like probably decided, well, this is maybe not fun for me, and you like started trying really hard again, or like what happened there?
Yeah, it's kind of a meme. People like to bring up like there's a number like I won over 1 million in tournaments, but you know there's like
I didn't say that.
There's like, you know, I was stacked when I was playing live, so you got to maybe divide that number out of, you know, by 10. I played live mostly for fun and not really to make a ton of money, even if I made a lot. I made most of my money playing online. But anyways, yeah, basically towards the end, the last like year and a half, maybe, I was just super miserable playing online. You know, it felt really bad. I was just not happy. So I kept going for a bit because I was still sponsored, but then I kind of lost my sponsorship because PokerStars moved out of France for a bit. And I also went on a, you know, downswing, which is not uncommon, but I felt like it was just a final straw. And a bit before that, we had started streaming a bit as a team, was a Pantheon. So the idea was we would each stream for half a day. And since it was like, you know, 14 of us, it would be a full streaming schedule. So we would have the Pantheon channel. But most of the others didn't really like it. I kind of enjoyed it. And I was like, well, I don't want to play poker anymore. Maybe I can just start streaming and start making content. You know, again, I reached out to Channel Fireball, see if I could write articles for them. So I figured between the stream and that, give it a shot, give it maybe 6 months or a year, see if it grows and it goes well and I like it. And, you know, at first it was just the idea was I would be a streamer first, and if it happened that I did well at Pro Tours, then maybe I would try a bit harder. So that's how I came back to Magic.
You because of the fact that you're like streaming all the time, you're just, I don't know, you're just like crushing everything lately. Is it because of the fact that you just like play all the time, or like what is going on?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's a big reason. Variance is obviously another big reason. I got really lucky was the system. I got into the MPL last year. I got an invite to one of the Mythic Invitationals, and I did really well. So I got invited again, and then I did just well enough to get in the MPL without even having super good results on the Pro Tour. My best finish at a Pro Tour, I think, was 10-6 or 11-5 maybe during the year. Maybe I went twice 10-6. And just because it was so skewed towards these Mythic Invitational, I squeaked in the MPL. I got the last slot. Same for World. So I was just really, really lucky that way. But obviously, playing all the time helps. There's no secret. But I think it's also a lot of good variance going my side. Yeah.
One thing that I want to ask about your play, even Pavlo said it when he made like the top 10 best players of the time, is that you can be like kinda sloppy. Even when I like watch you stream, sometimes you like make these like, I'm just like but obviously like overall you like understand the game a lot, and you like probably play like super well and have like the bigger picture planned out or whatever. Would you think that's like accurate, or can you maybe like talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say that I make really, really dumb mistakes. But overall, I have really good understanding of the game and of how games play out and how to plan and stuff. But yeah, it was, I'm not sure it was always true that I would make these really stupid mistakes. I'm sure, everyone makes them, but yeah, definitely fair assessment. That I can win really tough games to win. I don't love I like it because it's flattering, but when people say, oh, games only Nassif would have won or games only Nassif would have lost, I kind of agree with the only Nassif would have lost part, but I think I'm not like some kind of crazy genius who can see like 12 turns ahead or anything, but yeah, obviously I think I'm really good understanding of what's going on.
Because you're kind of known deck builder, one thing that I also want to ask about is how much do you think matters the in-game play compared to like your like deck choice, sideboarding, and like the card choices? Because a lot of the time, when you just like watch people play, you like maybe think that like one of the players didn't make any mistake and he just got unlucky, but like if you just drawn different cards, he would have won. And that's like very underrated. What do you think about that? Because you're like a known deck builder, so probably you probably think about that stuff a lot.
Well, yeah, I think it's true, and the consensus that back then it was just super important to have a good deck because there was very little info, and the Pro Tours were 2 weeks after the set release. There was no big tournaments in between, so you'd show up and people would have embarrassing decks. You'd get so many free wins because I don't know, just people really just didn't have, without having like terrible unplayable decks, but I'd be like,
can you recall like one like complete garbage deck that you like played against?
It wasn't fine. Like they weren't playing like complete garbage decks, but
okay.
It was. My memory is pretty bad for that stuff anyway, so sure. I wouldn't know. But they're not playing enough lands, and they're playing bad archetypes. They're playing stuff that's way underpowered. I was never the greatest technical player, but having the deck building edge was huge, and now it's not the case anymore. I think just knowing your deck, knowing the matchups is super important. So yeah, having good preparation is really key.
So you think that the deck choice and stuff doesn't really like matter as much because it's like known that which decks are the best or whatever?
Well, deck choice matters. Deck building skills are not super valuable anymore. Yeah, choosing the right deck for the right weekend, and
I didn't mean like necessarily like bringing like a new deck completely. I just meant like building the right version of the deck or whatever.
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to answer because everything matters, right? There's picking the right deck, picking the right few last main deck cards, picking the right sideboard cards, knowing how to play the matchups, especially in a format like Standard where you play, it's like the same 4 or 5 matchups. The games are, there's still, you can make mistakes. There's lots of, anytime I watch someone play, even good players are going to I feel like they make decent amount of mistakes, especially on Arena because of the rope and stuff. It's not super easy. So there's still like a lot you can do to.
How big of a deal is the rope for you? Because you're like not exactly known for like a fast play.
Yeah, I feel like playing on Arena is tough, and I think it's just true for everyone. So I don't know if I deal with it better or worse than other players. I think overall I do a pretty good job. It's pretty hard to time out on Arena. I mean, eventually I get, once in a while I get roped, but I think I deal with it pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Is it like a big difference for you compared to playing real life? Because in real life, if you have like a really hard turn, like the judges will allow you to like tank for like a long time, like once a match, I think, for the most part. But you just cannot do that on Arena. Is that like a big deal for you, or? I mean, I obviously understand it's the same for everybody, but like people have like different skill sets, so.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. Relatively, do I play better on Arena or in real life? When it comes down to time and stuff, it depends. It really helps to just know your deck well. If you can kind of autopilot the easy decisions and only have to think when you have a tough decision. I feel like it's a bit the same whether it's on Arena or in real life, really. So I'm not sure if I like one much better than the other. I feel like maybe I'm a bit more comfortable on Arena than in real life, but really? It's been so long, you kind of forget it's been a year and a half. We haven't played live, and it was, I also went a really long time without playing a ton in real life and showing up at the Pro Tours without being super well prepared. So I guess it's hard to answer. Yeah,
that's fine. The last thing that I want to ask about is that like you came back into Magic with like the thought that you're just gonna be like a content producer, like stream a lot, maybe write articles and stuff, but you just like started winning a ton. You're in the MPL. Is that like still your like main goal, that maybe you just want to have a lot of followers and stuff, or are you maybe like more focusing on just like winning a lot right now?
I feel like I should take advantage of it. I got kind of gifted that chance, and I'm trying to make the best of it, and I'm still trying to stream a lot and keep that going in case I fall off the MPL or something happens. So just trying to be serious. If it was up to, I don't know. I really like the stream and I really like competing. I'm sorry. Do you play outside of like your stream, or do you always stream when you play? I play a bit. I play with my teammates too, but right now I have Dota downloaded. I go through phases where I delete Dota too. It's like a kind of League of Legends game that I play a lot, so that takes a lot of my free time. But when I go through the phases where I delete it from my computer, I'll play off stream, and but mostly I play. I stream like 6, 7 hours a day, so most of my time playing is on stream.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this isn't the case for you. Maybe you're like comfortable when you're streaming as well, but a lot of people said that when they're streaming they cannot really like focus that well. It's just like overall not really good for their preparation. So like I was just curious whether sometimes you like have to face the decision, like should I do the right decision for streaming, or should I do the right decision to like give myself the highest EV at the next tournament. Is that not the case for you?
Yeah, there's that decision, but so far I've been, I'll take a few days off before deck lists are due for big events and not streamed, so I don't give anything away and I can focus. Because for sure the ladder is not super great for testing, but it is good for just seeing the decks, kind of getting a feel for the matchups. It does add up, even though it's not great data and necessarily great testing, I still feel like, it just keeps you connected. The metagame, evolves really fast. So it's good to be, playing every day and seeing what's happening. But I'm not too sure, so far so good. I feel like I haven't had to sacrifice my stream too much, and I'm doing one in the MPL. But it's tough, there was a Canister, he was streaming the decks he was playing at tournaments, and he was doing really well with them, and he was literally telling everyone what he was going to play and which list, and he was still beating people, and it felt like people were not really taking advantage. And there's that whole thing of like, see, it doesn't even matter, you can share your list and you're still going to do well if you're the best. And then now he's not doing so well, so I don't know if something changed on his side or if it was just the variance, it just happened that he was doing well. So it's kind of the same for me right now. It's like, oh, it's working, so I don't make, I don't try to hide too much or make too many sacrifices, and it's still working out.
All right, thanks a lot for your time today.
Yeah.
If you guys like the video, please click on the like and subscribe button. Good luck with your streaming and all the tournaments, and bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me.